Hello, my students. I'm Miss Tania Poveda. Welcome to my class. This is Entrepreneurship 2. Remember that it's very important that you have with you something to take notes. So make sure you have with you a pen or a pencil and a notebook or your folder. I'm going to tell you the most important things you should write down. Today we're going to study these two things. We're going to study the definition of investigation techniques and targeting. So we're going to have two parts. The first part is going to be this, investigation techniques and targeting. And I want you to pay attention to these two drawings here, okay? Pay attention to this drawing and pay attention to this one. They are going to be very important for the next slides. Let's start. Well, we already know what investigation is. Today, we're going to know what investigation techniques are. So what are they? They are different ways to get information from the market. By now, you already know what a market is according to a marketing definition. But just in case, I'm going to say it again. A market is a group of people, possible clients, with some characteristics, and they are going to possibly buy your product. Okay, and this is very important, maybe the most important thing about investigation techniques. So let's read carefully, but carefully, okay? This is a recommendation I wanted to write for you. Use the most accurate technique according to the market. Each market is unique and different. So know your market first and choose the best one. Choose the best technique. And I'm going to point this part here. Each market is unique and different. When we are talking about market, we are talking about group of people. So if you want to sell a product, for example, in Ecuador, you have to analyze how people in Ecuador act, how they live, how much they can spend. It's not the same if you want to sell a product, let's say, in United States, because people behave in a different way. People have other incomes. People prefer other things. So that's why you have to pay too much attention on the market. And then according to the market, you're going to use the technique. Okay, maybe that was a too big example. Let's talk about something closer to us. So we study in a high school. We have boys and we have girls. And we also have different ages. We have kids, maybe from 4 to 11. And then we have students from 11 or 12 until 17, 18. So if I want to analyze the first group, little kids, let's say from 4 to 7 years old, can I use the same method, the same technique, like students between 15 and 17 years old? Can you communicate the same way between kids and teens and adults? Okay, I'm going to answer that later, but I'm sure you know the answer by now. Good. So these are the first steps. There are two ways to take a decision, how to start. Maybe you have a product already, so now you have to find a market for that product. So let's say that right now you have bananas. And these bananas are special. They are like big size, they are really sweet, really special product. Okay, so now you have to find a market or a group of people that want or need to buy your product, your bananas in this case. Or maybe the opposite. We have a group of people that want or need something and nobody is selling that product. So you, introduce the product to this market. You see the difference? So let's suppose that we have now that we are living this lockdown in the whole world, people need and people want things that they didn't need and that they didn't know they want before. So you see the opportunity in the market and you sell a product. You got it? I'm going to repeat anyway. So you have to decide, do you have the product first? So you find a market or buyers or clients for your product. Or you see a group of people, you see a market that needs or want something, so you find the product and sell the product to them. You see the difference? These two ways are correct. They are correct. Don't worry. You can start having a product first or having a need in a market or wants in a market. But today we're going to focus in the most common situation. This is the most common situation. It's when you have a product or a service. Remember that when we talk about product, we're talking about touchable products like things, or untouchable products like services. So let's suppose that you have a product or a service that you want to sell, you need to sell. So what you're going to do is you're going to find a market. You think like, okay, who can buy my product? I have this product or I have this service. So you think, who can buy my product? Who wants to buy my product? Who needs to buy my product? What do you have to do next? You are going to choose your client. You're going to choose the ideal client profile. And this is probably a new word for you. Maybe not too new, because everybody has like a profile in Facebook or a profile in Instagram or in any other social media. Well, so you already know a little bit what a profile is. In this case, we're talking about client profile. So you choose your possible clients. You choose your ideal client profile. Let's continue. So remember I told you we're going to study today only the definition, and we're not going into each technique because, as you can see, there are many. Actually, there are more than these 6, but I chose these 6 because they are the most common ones and probably the most useful. So just for you to know, write down right now on your notebook these 6 investigation techniques. We already know the definition. Investigation techniques are different ways to find out information or to collect information from a market. How many? Today we're going to mention 6. Again, I repeat, there are more than 6, but these ones are the most common ones and the most useful techniques. So number 1, service. This is number 1. And there is a drawing that represents a survey. So service, maybe the drawing is telling you what this is already. Number 2, interviews. Copy this information. Number 2, interviews. Number 3, and this is really common in a marketing investigation, maybe more common than service, maybe. We're going to see that later. So number 3, focus group. Focus group. Number 4, personally, it's my favorite one, observation. Number 4, observation. Number 5, I like this one too, actually. Number 5, product testing. Product testing. And number 6, mystery shoppers. Again, today we are not going to talk about each investigation technique. I am going just to mention. Next week, we are going to study one by one because it's really important we understand the techniques so we can choose the best one according to the market that we want to focus our product. You got it? I'm sure you do. Okay, remember I was telling you something about client profile? Do you have a Facebook profile? Well, I do. Most of people do profiles in Facebook right now. Or if it's not Facebook, it's any other social media, which is okay. So when you create your profile, you include a picture, right? Maybe the best picture of you, or maybe something you like. And then when you are creating your profile, Facebook asks you information like where do you live, what do you do, what do you like, what's your name, etc., etc., etc. Okay, when we're talking about marketing, a client profile, and copy this definition, it's a summary of a specific customer type that is based on available statistical information. And this is a key word, statistical. It means numbers. It means information that you can count. So if I'm doing an investigation, I can count how many people. And how many of those people are men or are women, teens, adults, etc. Okay, I'm going to focus right now on client profile. It's a summary. Do you know what a summary is? It's like when you reduce information, you have like a lot of information, but you don't need everything. So you use only the most important things. That's a summary. You can find this word in books too, like the summary of this book or the summary of this report, etc. So it's like the summary of a specific customer type. Specific customer type. Remember that markets are different. People are different. Even between brothers or sisters or siblings, brothers and sisters, they are different. And think on you and in your house. Do you have a brother or a sister? Okay, so probably you can compare to your brother or to your sister. And even you have the same dad, the same mom, and you live in the same house, and probably you are pretty much the same age, you are two different people. Yes or no? Yeah, right? You like different things. So can you imagine the same situation in a market of hundreds of people, thousands of people, millions of people? That's why you need a summary. It is a summary of a specific customer type based on available. Available means information that you can get from any source. It can be from online source or maybe from the client, or maybe you can ask or you can find data information. Okay, it says based on available statistical information. What statistical information? Remember that statistical means something that you can count, you can calculate. We're talking about numbers here. Okay, such as, you can be more specific than this, but I'm going to mention like the most important things you should consider when you're analyzing, when you are creating a client profile. So let's start with gender. Gender means if you are a man or a woman. Age, teens, adults, children too, if you want to. This is a way to say, okay, my market is a group of teens, or my market is a group of people between, let's say, 12 and 17 years old, for example. So there are two ways to say the age, like being general, like a group of adults, which is too general actually, or a group of teens, it's too general too, Or be a little bit more specific and saying it's a group of people between 19 and 20 years old, for example. It's only 1 year difference. It depends on the market again. That's why I can't write like something specific here, because you have to decide according to the market. Okay, location. Location. So you want to sell your product. Where? Do you want to sell it in your neighborhood? Do you want to sell it in your town? Do you want to sell it in your country? So this is the location. And you, maybe I didn't write it here, but a location can be also online. But where are you going to deliver the product? It's by your house, in your town, your country, around the world. So that is location. Where? Where are you going to sell your product? So this is like very specific information. And now we're going into something more general, and I can tell something more delicate. It's about culture. Culture, because there is a general definition of culture. I want to summarize it into knowledge, habits, and likes. Okay, so remember when we talk about culture, it can vary even in the same country. Like we have culture in the coast and different culture in the highlands. And if you go to the Amazon, it's going to be different too. But even from one family to the other, people have different culture. Yes or no? People have different knowledge and habits and likes. What about beliefs? So in belief, I wanted to choose examples like religion or politics. What about, for example, politics? You want to sell a product into a country, and probably the regulations of that country, the politics in that country, they don't let you sell that kind of product, no matter what it is right now. But so you have to make sure that it is a place where the politics, the state, the government, and the regulations will let you sell your product there. So that's about politics and religion. Traditions. Okay, and here I chose like the most common ones: family traditions and society traditions. So for example, what do you do on weekends? Tell me. So you visit your grandparents, you stay home, you play soccer, you watch TV, and it's something that you have done like forever, since you can remember. So that's your personal family tradition. And probably like you, there are hundreds of families doing the same. So we are going to try to focus on that group of people. What about society traditions? In Guayaquil, for example, July and October, usually we have parties, right? Because it's the town, the country parties. So probably we're going to do the things that most of people do. Probably we're going out, probably we're going shopping or parades or concerts. So those are traditions that you have to consider when you want to choose or to choose a market or to sell a product. And finally, incomes. I didn't want to go too deep, like to know how much you make, like being very specific about money, but I wrote this information like average incomes. Like let's say that most of people makes $1,000 a month. I'm just guessing. So that's the average in that market. Other way to consider incomes is like people with under average incomes. It means less than 1,000. Or people with incomes like above the average. It means people that make more than 1,000 a month. You got it? So pay attention to this, because right now we're going to do an exercise, and it's very important to understand this: gender, age, location, culture, beliefs, traditions, and incomes. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7 things you should always have in your head. Got it? Let's continue. Okay, these are some questions that you can make to yourself or to your team if you are doing a market research, if you want to choose an investigation technique. I'm not telling you you must use these questions. No, you can make up your own, but this is only a recommendation that you can use. So in this case, remember that we are trying to identify which investigation technique. So I'm going to focus into a specific market. What questions can I use to ask to myself about that specific market? Who are they? Men, women, age. Where do they live? Guayaquil, in my neighborhood, in Ecuador, in Galapagos, etc. What do they do for fun? So you need to know your people. What are their demographics? How they move? Where do they live? How many people in this place, etc. What do they read? What do they watch? What do they play? What is it important to them? What is it important for this specific market? Some things are more important for some people than for others. And that's something, it's kind of hard to understand, but it's very important we know it. What keeps them up at night? Their passions, what people love. Maybe some people love playing video games and they can be awake the whole night. Maybe some people for Valentine's Day, they are so in love that they can't sleep at night. Maybe people are so worried about their work that they just can't sleep. You know, their heads, their minds are thinking on the same thing again and again. So these are some questions that you can use to focus on this information. But you can use other questions too. You got it? So knowing what a client profile is, which is this specific information about this group of people, we're going to talk about targeting. Do you remember I asked you to remember this drawing in the beginning? This is a target. So when you play target with your friends, this is what you're going to play with. This is a target. It means you're going to focus on something. In this case, here in the middle, that's the target. So you have a product. What's the target for this product? What is the market for this product? What is the specific group of people you want to sell your product to? You got it? And again, we have thousands, if not millions, of unique individuals. You are a unique person with unique and wonderful characteristics. There is nobody like you. You are the only one in this world. There is only one person like you. But sometimes, like you can see in this picture, when we're talking about marketing, they're going to focus on this specific group of people. People with characteristics similar, but not exactly the same like yours. And they're going to try to sell a product just for you. In other words, for a specific group of people like you. So you see these faces, he's unhappy too, but she's really happy because someone thinks that she is special, she is a good client for a specific product. So she's the target in this case, okay? She is the target. This is the person they want to focus to sell the product. You got it now? So let's suppose that this is the whole market. This is whole, let's say, Ecuador, okay? So we want a specific group of people, and we have people from the highlands, and we have people from the coast, and we have the rest of the country. So we identify customer groups. These are the customer groups. These three groups here, group A, group B, and everyone else. I was just comparing with Ecuador. I'm not saying this is Ecuador. This is just a comparison. So we have group A, group B, and everyone else. And you create profiles. Ta-da! Okay, so you want group B in this case. You want this group. This is targeting. It means you're going to focus on this group. Why are you going to focus only on this group? Because you want to be efficient. Because if you know the market, this is what is going to happen. You are going to have coherent marketing and sales strategies. So it means that because you know your market, because you know your target, you are going to use the best sales strategies to sell them products. You got it now? Okay, let's do this exercise. What kind of shoes are these? What kind of shoes? Okay, so let's say that this is a specific product. What kind of people do you think can use this product? Like everybody? Men, women, children, adults, people in the countryside, people in the town. Can you use these shoes for to go to work, to go to a party? Is this a design for women, for men? What do you think? Okay. Maybe you recognize the picture because it's a famous soccer player. And I want to show a profile. I'm not talking about this specific soccer player. No, I'm not talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm talking about a market. I'm talking about people like him, a group of people like him. Not necessarily professional, but let's read. So because of the design, I can tell that my target is men, because apparently it's designed mostly for men. Maybe some women use it, it's okay, but it was designed for men. Who can use that kind of shoes? Because of the size, because of the size, maybe adults, or adults between 18 and 35. Location, well, here in this case, I chose like any country. I just wrote Portugal because I was thinking about this player, but where you can sell that product, maybe in any country, but for sure in Portugal, in this case. Culture, okay, so soccer lovers, people who really love soccer will buy it. Beliefs, people who believe sports are good for health as entertainment. So these people think that it's really healthy for their bodies and for their heads because it's entertaining. So they have fun during watching soccer or during playing soccer. Traditions. Maybe family or friends like soccer too. So you play soccer. Like let's say that your father or your mother, they play soccer or they watch soccer on TV. So it's a tradition that you watch soccer games every day, every weekend. So it's what you know. So probably you are going to like it too. And you are going to play soccer too. So you see the tradition here? And incomes? Well, I don't think these shoes are cheap, right? I'm not sure they are cheap. They are cheap shoes. They're probably quite expensive. So people with an average income or above, they can buy those shoes. So you see the profile of the clients for the specific product. I'm going to show you the product again. This is the product, and this is the possible clients for my product. It's really beautiful, right? So next time you go to a mall or to a place, remember that you are a target for a product. Okay, what is this? Yeah, it's a necklace, right? For cats, for dogs. Apparently for dogs, right? Because of this drawing here. I'm going to ask you something. Can a dog go and buy a necklace? No, right? So we're not going to talk about dogs. Even the product is for dogs. I need to know who can buy my product, who can be my possible clients. So here we have a couple showing their dogs. Actually, this is Novak Djokovic, my favorite tennis player. Okay, so who can buy that product? Men or women, teens and adults from maybe 12, maybe 11 or 13 years old and up. Because let's say that you have 10 years old, that you are 10 years old and you want to buy a necklace for your dog, you can save money and go for it. It's okay. 12, 13, 14. So you are very responsible to handle money at this age. So you can go and buy the necklace for your dog. Okay, location. People who has a place with a space for a dog. I'm not saying that you need a big yard or a big place. It can be like, it can be an apartment or a house, any place that you can have a dog. Culture. Well, I chose animal lovers because usually they are people who love animals, take more care and buy some specific things for their pets. People that want dogs like companion or safety or help. People who wants to have a companion at home, so they live by themselves and they want a pet to be there with them or to take care of the house or maybe to help in case, let's say that you are blind or you know someone blind. Sometimes there are dogs that help you. And beliefs, people who believe dogs will keep them safe and feel comfortable with dogs. Do you see these people comfortable or uncomfortable? They're pretty comfortable, right? They are pretty happy with their dogs. So they probably believe in that the dogs will keep them safe, will give them love or care, and of course they feel comfortable with them. Traditions. What traditions can you consider if you want to sell a necklace for dogs? Probably that the family has always had dogs for different reasons, no matter which of these reasons. So maybe your mom has a dog, your dad had a dog, and then you had a dog too. Who can buy that product? Maybe people average under or above incomes. Also, it depends on the price, of course. If it's an extremely expensive necklace, I'm pretty sure that you will have to focus on people with average or above the average incomes. If it's something like really inexpensive, something cheap, let's say that $2, $1, so then you can consider a market or a target with average or under average incomes. So you see the difference between these people here, this profile here, and this one here? Yeah, right? Okay, what about this one? What is this? A helmet, right? It's a helmet, but pay attention on the details, huh? It looks like pretty fancy. So who can buy this product, or who wants or who needs to buy this product? Well, here we have men or women, maybe children, maybe once you learn to ride a bike, maybe 4 years old. teens and adults. So it's pretty much for everybody. Location, people who are going to be on open places, town or countryside, roads or streets. Culture, well, it is the way people move in my place. Maybe like in Europe, a lot of countries, a lot of cities, they use a bike to move from one place to the other. So maybe that's the culture there. Maybe some bike lovers, people who likes going out and ride a bike. And people who wants to keep safe. Okay, remember that helmets are replaceable. Heads are not. So if you ride a bike, remember to use your helmet. This is just a personal advice. Okay, beliefs. People who want to reduce CO2, people who want to be healthy, or people who think it's fun and relaxing. Okay, so that's the belief. Maybe this woman here, she just wants to feel relaxed, so she just takes her bike and go out and ride. That's it. Or maybe some people want to help the environment, reducing CO2, so instead of taking a bus or driving a car, they ride a bike. Traditions, when your family or friends use it and have always used it, so you will feel like comfortable. It's something you have already done before, so you keep doing it. And maybe if you have children, they're going to do it too. It's a tradition. And incomes, well, remember I asked you to pay attention to the helmet? It's kind of fancy with this style here. It's really stylish and fancy. And I can't tell the materials right now, but it looks pretty safe. So probably it's expensive. So who can buy that specific product? People with average and above average incomes. So people who can really afford the product. You got it? So right now we studied 3 client profiles. Profiles for a helmet, profiles for a necklace for dogs, and profile for these soccer shoes. And your homework is this one. I'm going to add this information in the email. So you just have to complete the information. Look at the picture, pay attention, what this is, who can use it, etc., and complete the client profile: gender, age, location, culture, beliefs, traditions, and incomes. So if you write all this information, I'm pretty sure that you can sell the product to your specific market. Okay? If you have any question, you can text me, you can send me an email or call me. That's okay. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm sure that today you got a lot of information, but believe me, this information is going to be extremely useful in your life, the rest of your life. So see you next class. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.